Hey there, I have a strength training practice planned today. Sorry, I'm starting out weird. Um, Today I have a little bit of a more upper body focused strengthening sequence. You can say hi to my dog Layla. So if you have any props that you like to use, I would recommend maybe a band we might be able to incorporate into what I have planned. Um, Actually, you know what? I don't think you'll even need a band, so don't worry about that. Um, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. So get into a tabletop position. If you do like a blanket or a towel underneath your knees, go ahead and take that. I'm going to face you for this first variation. So for a moment, just look up at the screen and take a look at my form here. So the fingers are pointing straight forward, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the elbows in, the eyes of the elbows in. Then I'm going to bend my elbows straight out to the sides, and then I'm going to roll, tucking them back, and then press up. And so the eyes of the elbows are facing forward now. So roll the eyes of the elbows in, elbows point out right to left, hug them in, and then press up. And then continue just making these big circles with your shoulders. So as you do this, notice if your low back is arching a whole bunch. See if you can keep the belly button drawing slightly in so you feel the core a little bit firm. So I'm stabilizing the low back. Switch directions of the circles. So now the elbows bend straight back. Curl them out to the sides and straighten the arms. Elbows spin forward. Bend the elbows straight back. Spin them out to the sides. Hug them in. Elbows spin forward, down, out, and up. And hopefully you're starting to feel some of this warmth building up in the shoulders. That's what we're looking to do. We're just warming up the shoulders. Do one more time. Perfect. And now we'll come into a neutral tabletop, and I'll switch gears so that now you get a side view. So from here, we'll reach your right arm up to the ceiling, and with an exhale, thread it underneath your left ribs and hover the arm above the mat as you reach as far as you can to the left. Bend your left elbow slightly and press comfortably and evenly into your left hand. Now reach the right arm back up to the ceiling, look up and pull that arm back in space, and then thread it underneath you again, hovering the arm above the mat. Bend the left elbow, ground into your left palm. Inhale, reach the right arm back up and the shoulder blade draws back. And exhale, thread it underneath, hover, pressing into your left palm. Reach that right arm back up one more time. And then thread it through and hover, pressing evenly into your left hand. Now come back up onto both of your hands. Do the same thing on the other side. Reach your left arm up and back. Thread it through under your right ribs, hovering the arm above the mat. Reach all the way to your right. Inhale, reach the left arm back and up. Then with an exhale, hover and thread, pressing evenly into your right hand. Inhale, reach the left arm back and up. Exhale, thread it through and hover. We're going to do this one more time. Inhale, reach that arm up. And exhale, thread it through and hover. Now come back up into a neutral spine. Bring the knees under your hips. Fingers and wrists right underneath your shoulders. And we'll just take 5 cat-cows. So with an inhale, lift your tailbone, lift your chest, look up. And with an exhale, round, pressing into the mat, all 10 fingers press down, chin to chest. Inhale, lift the tailbone, lift your chest, splay the ribs down to the floor. Exhale to round in, pressing evenly into your hands. Inhale, lift up into that back bend, look up to the ceiling. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, round the shoulder blades away from your spine. 2 more, inhaling and exhaling. One more time, breathing in, look up, and breathing out. Now from here, come into a neutral spine in your tabletop and walk your hands a little bit forward, but keep your shoulders back. So now you should be able to see my hands are just slightly forward of my shoulders. Tuck all your 10 toes behind you. And then press into your hands as if you could slide the mat forward. And you'll feel maybe your quads already starting to activate a little bit. Press into the balls of your feet. And now hover your knees an inch off of the mat. Now keep sliding the hands forward, and what will move is your hips towards your heels like a floating child's pose. Lower the knees a little if you have lifted them higher. And now straighten the legs, drop the heels down towards the floor as much as you can. Take a big breath in and a full breath out. Bend the knees, look towards the hands, and lower the knees just to a hover, shoulders just behind the wrists, long spine. Now slide the hips back towards your heels, flat, floating child's pose. Straighten the legs, drop the heels as much as you can towards the floor. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Again, lower the knees towards the floor, look towards your hands, find a neutral spine, floating tabletop. Slide the hips towards the heels, floating child's pose. Straighten the legs, drop the heels as much as you can. Take a big breath in. Drop the heels with your exhale. Slowly drop the knees down to the floor, and then lower onto your forearms. Now here's another moment where you might want to come and look at the screen for the first one. We'll do what's called a dolphin push-up. Make sure we have this. Yes. So a dolphin push-up, your forearms are the width of your shoulders. Hands might be a little closer together than that. And you're in either forearm plank with the knees lifted or with the knees down. So if your knees are lifted, we're going to walk the feet in just a little bit. If your knees are down, just walk your knees in a little bit. And then from here, we'll shift the shoulders slightly past the wrist. Drop the hips in line with your shoulders. And then take the hips a little higher as you rock the shoulders just slightly behind the elbows. And that's what we'll call a dolphin push-up. If your knees are down, it'll look like this. Shoulders move forward, shoulders move back. So it's just a little rocking motion in your dolphin pose or your forearm plank. So come into your variation here. Shift the shoulders slightly forward, feel the core catch, shift them slightly back. And just take a couple of rounds like this. Keep the jaw soft. Feeling the shoulders start to burn a little bit here, belly button in the whole time. And when you drop the hips towards the floor, you can squeeze the glutes. Feel the legs nice and strong. Take about 3 more here, just rocking forward and back. And now we'll come into a forearm plank. Now tap the knees down for a moment, give yourself a break. If you don't need the break, feel free to stay in a forearm plank. And then we'll come back into your variation of the forearm plank, either with the knees down or lifted. And now bring your right knee towards your right shoulder out to the right. Step it back. Bring your left knee out to the left tricep and step it back. Keep your gaze between your hands. Keep going. Right knee in, left knee in. Right knee in, left knee in. For 4, 3, 2, last one, tap the knees down to the mat, walk back up onto your hands and give yourself a moment. Take a couple shoulder rolls back, a couple shoulder rolls forward. Nice. We're going to do that same thing from either a plank or a downward facing dog or a tabletop. So I'll show you all 3 variations. From a tabletop position, it'll be a knee to nose option here. So you can either lift your leg up and curl the knee in from knee to nose. You can do it from a downward facing dog, or you can stay in the plank the whole time, which would be the most advanced variation. I'm going to be demoing from a downward facing dog. From here, bring your legs together or your knees together if you're on your knees. Lift your right leg back behind you, feel the glute engage. And then with your exhale, knee to nose, round your spine, chin to chest. Inhale, take the leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, round in. 3 more, inhale, up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, curl in. Feel your core fire up, inhale, up and back. Last 2. Knee to nose, 1 more, inhale, up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Now come back into your down dog or your plank or your tabletop. Same thing with the left leg. Lift, knee to nose, exhale. 4 more. Inhale back. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale back. Exhale, curl it in. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. Exhale, last one. And then step back into your down dog. Take your feet wide. If you're in your tabletop, find a down dog and walk your hands all the way to your feet, finding a forward fold. Bend your knees a lot. Hold on to opposite elbows, finding ragdoll. Let your head relax. Take a few breaths there. You can swing your body a little right and left. And slowly we'll let the hands come back down to the floor. Bend the knees and walk the hands all the way back into your downward facing dog. Just for a moment, pull forward into a plank, tap the knees down and lower all the way down to your belly your way. Now from here, we're going to roll over onto your left side. Take your left arm alongside your body, alongside your head side. This lighting is kind of weird today. Bend your left elbow and hold your head in your hands. And keep your right hand on the floor in front of you for some support. Now look down at your heels. If they've already moved far forward in front of you, bring them back so your entire body is in one line. And if it is in one line, you should feel that like, whoa, like you're balancing there. So make sure that you're all in one line. Tuck the belly button a little bit in. And now take your right hand to the front of your right hip. Now push your hip into your hand. And push your hip into your hand until you feel your right glute engage. So that's the kind of sensation we want to try to keep this whole time. So you can keep the right hip with that engagement, but take your right hand back down to the floor. And now keeping that right glute engaged, lift your right leg away from your left leg. Now keep lifting it as high as you can. And now turn the toes to face the ceiling so the kneecap rolls out and lift the leg a little higher. Now turn the toes back forward as you lower the leg back down to the floor. Push the hip forward as if your hand was there. Now if you have a hard time feeling that, take the hand there again, push the hip into the hand, find that activation, and then bring the right hand back down to the floor. Keep that right glute engaged, separate the legs. Take that right leg as high as you can with the right toes pointing forward. Now turn the toes towards the ceiling, lift the leg a little higher. Turn the toes forward as you lower the leg back down. Now keeping that leg lifted up, turn the toes up. Slowly lower it down. Lift up, turn the toes out. Slowly lower it down. Lift it up, toes out. Feel that right glute engage the whole time. Slowly lower it down. One more time. Lift up, toes out. Press up. Slowly lower down. Now this time we'll take the leg straight out in front of you on the floor, hovering the foot. Bring the leg back to center. Use the right hand pressing down to support you. Bring that right leg out in front of you. Hover the foot. Slowly bring the leg back. Bring the right leg back out in front of you, and now place that right foot down onto the floor. Take your right thumb into your right hip crease and press that right hip down until you feel your left side body lift a little away from the floor. And you might let your left ear just kind of rest down on your bicep now. Flex the right toes towards you. Take one more breath. Now bend your left elbow if you've straightened it. Now bend your right knee, take your right foot on the floor as best you can in front of that left leg. And depending on how tight that hip is going to be where that foot is going to feel most comfortable. But don't worry too much about where that knee is coming. It's more just going to help you stabilize. Flex your left toes, that's your straight leg now, and lift your left leg away from the floor, and then place it back down. And then lift it up, and place it back down. And take a couple more rounds of that, just lifting and placing, until you feel that left inner thigh a little burn. Last 3, and 2, last 1. Nice. Now place those feet back together. Bend your knees, and now we'll prop up onto that left forearm with the elbow right underneath your shoulder, or maybe even just a little bit forward. Take your right hand onto your right hip. Press into your left forearm, lift your hips away from the floor. Take that right hand on top of your right hip again and press it forward so you feel that same kind of little bit of right glute engagement, and then lower the hips down to the floor. You can take the right hand back onto the hip. Lift the hips up, push that right hip slightly forward. Place the hips back down. 2 more, lift the hips up. Place it down. Lift it up. And place it down. I think we can do one more. Let's do one more. Lift it up, hold. Let's do a little pulse up there for 3, 2, 1, and slowly lower all the way down. Lower it all the way back to your belly and switch sides. I'm going to switch directions. What time are we at here? Oh, good. We're at 15 minutes. Perfect. We're about halfway through what I have planned here, so let's get going on this other side. Take your right hand into your right ear, left hand onto the floor. Find your balance, make your body all in one line. Take your left hand onto the top of your left hip and push that hip into your hand until you feel that left glute engage. And take your time with it. It's a little bit of an obscure engagement here, so find your body-mind connection. And then take your left hand down to the floor. Flex your left toes, lift your left leg up, keeping that left glute engaged the whole time. Lift it as high as you can, then turn the toes out, lift the leg a little higher, and then place the leg down as the toes turn back forward. Again, lift the leg up, turn the toes out, lift a little higher, and then slowly lower down, turn the toes forward. Lift the leg up, turn the toes forward, and lower down. And take a couple more rounds like this on your own. I don't know if anyone else is watching a lot of Netflix, but I haven't seen this documentary, but there's one on Taylor Swift. And lower down, let that be your last one. And there's, in the preview that I've seen about 1,000 times, she says, pray that I don't have dead face. And after recording myself for a while, I've realized exactly what that means. So please excuse any dead face that I have. I'm working on it. Anyway, straighten your legs. Now we'll take that left leg right out in front of you. Again, that left hip is pushing slightly forward. Hover that left leg on the floor in front of you. Flex the toes. Bring the leg back through center. Lift the left leg forward. Hover. Slide it back. Bring it forward. Place the foot down onto the floor. Left thumb into your left hip. Press it down. So you'll feel that hip drop, your right inner oblique kind of rise up away from the floor. And then flex the left toes towards you. Now we'll slide that left foot flat onto the floor. Again, doesn't matter too much the positioning, just a place where that foot and that knee feel comfortable. And then we'll take a couple of pulses with that right leg. Just flexing the right foot, lifting that right leg up. And try to keep those right toes pointing forward the whole time. So you're really going to maximize that inner thigh strengthening. 3, 2, last one. Nice. Place the foot down, join your legs. Hop up onto your right forearm. Bend your knees so your calves and your shins are behind you. Take your left hand onto your hip. Again, you might take that hand in front of your hip again to just push that hip forward, feeling that left glute engagement. As you lift, just adjust my position, lift the hips away from the floor. Again, pushing that left hip forward until you feel the left glute fire up as well, and then take the hand to the hip, and then drop the hips towards the floor, and then resist gravity by lifting them up. And drop down, and lift up. For 3, lift, 2, last 1, hold and pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down. Great job. And then we'll come all the way up to stand. Oh wait, no, sorry. Don't stand up yet. We're gonna come to lay back on your belly. We've got one last thing here, and I think it'll probably be best if I face this way. So with your hands on you, take the hands in front of you like Superman, and your legs back behind you. Now these are gonna be asymmetrical lifts. So turn the pinkies onto the floor so your palms are facing one another. For you, your forehead will stay down between the biceps, but if I do that, you're just not going to be able to hear me. So don't do what I'm doing in the neck. But from here, lift your right pinky away from the floor. The whole right arm lifts, that side of your chest lifts, and now your head and your chest is lifting. Now point your left toes, lift your left leg up. So right arm, left leg are lifting, and then slowly lower down. Now lift your left arm up, chest rises, head rises, lift your right leg up. And that ear is like between your bicep. And then lower down. Again, right arm, left leg, lift up. Press down, lower down. Left arm, right leg. Lower down. Right arm, left leg. You don't have to go as high as possible, just until you feel that engagement in your back body. Lower down. One more time, right arm, left leg. Lower down, left arm, right leg. Lower down. Now from here, we'll take the elbows, bend them out to the side so your hands are kind of underneath your head. And now from here, point your toes, lift your legs up, and lift your entire upper body, your shoulders, like you were stubble saluting with both of your hands. Bring the hands to your forehead. And then from here, we'll straighten the arms wide, right and left, like an airplane. Now bring your right arm in, like a salute. Straighten your right arm out. Bring your left arm in like a salute. Straighten out to the side. Bring both arms in. And then slowly lower down. Lift up, both hands salute. Both arms reach out. Right arm reaches in. Point your toes. Straighten your right arm. Left arm comes into the salute. Straighten back out. Both arms come in. Slowly lower down. Inhale, rise up. Last time. Straighten both your arms right and left. Right arm comes in. Half salute. Right arm goes out. Left arm comes in. Straighten it out. Both arms come in. And then slowly lower down. Take the hands in to frame your chest and press up into a tabletop. And then take the hips to the heels for a moment. Find a child's pose. You can either relax your head onto your hands stacked or let your forehead come to the floor. Arms might feel nice to come alongside your body. If you'd like to get some water now, feel free to get some water. We're almost done, just 2 more things. Now we'll come into a tabletop position. And then tuck your toes, find a downward facing dog. And now walk your feet up to your hands for a forward fold. Bring the hands to the hips and come all the way up to stand. Now from here, we're going to be doing something that will require just a little bit of balancing. So if you'd like to come near a wall, feel free to come near the wall. It's not necessary for this, and you might surprise yourself. So no, it's not going to be a crazy balance challenge, but we are going to be a little bit balancing. Another thing that I often really like to do is actually to use a broomstick. So if you have a broomstick or a chair that you could slide by and keep it nearby, you can either keep the broomstick in your hand the whole time while we do this for stability, or you can keep the chair nearby just in case you need it. From here, we'll bring the hands to the hips in a standing position. Bring your right leg in towards your chest and flex the toes. And you can always just stay on the ball of your foot or keep your big toe on the floor if you need. Now from here, bend your standing leg a little bit, and so you feel really strong and sturdy in that left leg. And then step the right leg all the way back behind you into a lunge and bend your back knee. Now as you bend your back knee, take the tailbone down towards the floor and then just graze the floor with that back knee. And now slow and control, straighten both of your legs as much as you can. And now bend and just tap or just graze the back or just bend your knee as much as you can. And straighten both of your legs with control. Bend. Straighten. And slow and controlled. Straighten back up. Last time, bending here and hold. We're going to take a little pulse for 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Now come back up, straightening both your legs. Now just bend your front knee. Transfer your weight a little forward by leaning your body forward. And then from here, slowly we'll bring that right knee back in, either coming onto the ball of your foot or bringing that right knee all the way in. Now from here, bring your hands to heart center. Step your feet together as you bend both of your knees into a chair pose. Now take the tailbone a little towards the floor, and without leaning too far forward, turn your chest to the right. Now as you turn your chest to the right, just tap your left elbow to your left knee, and then come back up to center. Chair pose, chest faces forward. Twist, tap left elbow to left knee, keeping your hips low. Come back through center chair. Left knee, left elbow taps. Maybe you pass over to the right elbow deepening, but we're not hooking, we're just tapping. Back through center. Left elbow, left knee tap. Inhale through center one more time. Left elbow, left knee tap. Slowly back through center. Straighten both your legs. Take a breath. We're going to move right into the other side. Come onto the ball of your left foot or draw the left knee in. Again, one of your hands can be holding your broomstick this whole time, someplace that feels right for you. From here, soften your right knee. Slowly step that left foot all the way back behind you, and then soften that back knee. Bring the hands onto your hips. Take the tailbone towards the floor as you bend your back knee more. Maybe it grazes or it taps. Now slow and control, straighten both of your legs, pressing into your right big toe. Bend both knees, take the tailbone down towards the floor and straighten. And bend and straighten. One more time, bending and straightening. And now from here, just bend your front knee. Transfer your weight further forward by leaning your body a little forward. And then slow and control, pressing into your right foot. Draw the left knee back in towards your chest. Bring the hands to heart center. And now step your feet together, both knees bend in chair. I'm going to switch directions. Now from here, start to turn your body to your left. Using your obliques, tap right elbow to left knee. Come back through center. Right knee to right elbow or to the left knee, whatever feels better in your back. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist and tap. Inhale to center. Exhale to twist and tap. Two more. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale. And exhale to twist and tap. Inhale through center. And now hold, heel toe your feet so they're slightly wider than, or as wide as your outer hips. Take your hips back and down. Tailbone towards the floor and hold. Lift your breastbone into your thumbs. Press your hands into one another. And sit your hips 2 inches lower. Now from here, reach your arms forward like somebody's pulling on your wrists. Lean your hips further back. Sit your hips 2 inches lower. Take one more breath. And with an exhale, forward fold. Take your hands down and your hips up and just bend into one knee and bounce your hips right and left. Great job. That was the last strengthening thing we have. We're at 27 minutes, so that'll give us a few minutes for a cool down. Keep your hips slightly wide, bend your knees a lot. Take your right hand onto the floor or onto a block. Reach your left arm to the ceiling and straighten your left leg. Take a big breath in. And a big breath out. One more breath. Now bend both your knees. Switch out your hands. Left hand comes down. Reach the right arm back. Straighten your right leg. Pull the hip back. Big breath in. Full breath out. One more breath. And then forward fold, hands down. Walk your feet back into a downward facing dog. And then from here, bring your knees down to the floor. Bring your right foot between your hands. And then tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and scooch it a little bit further back behind you. Now from here, tense your fingers, and as best you can, lift your chest, getting just like compression in your right hip. And then hold here, breathing into your belly, feeling that compression deepen. Nice. And then from here, we'll walk both hands inside your right leg. Shift your left knee and shin just slightly further back to your left. And now take your right hand onto your right thigh and press it back as you bend your left elbow, bowing your chest down. And now slowly we'll start to walk the hands towards your left knee and come to sit on the outside of your left knee and cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So your right thigh is on top. It's okay if you didn't quite get that transition. It was a little tricky. From here, hug your right knee in. If this hurts your left knee, straighten out your left leg. No worries. Right hand behind you into a twist. And really hug that right knee in, searching for some stretch in that right outer hip and glute. Slowly we'll unwind, little counter twist to the left. And now we'll uncross the ankles, come back into your tabletop position. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Tense your fingers, tuck your right toes, scoot your right knee further back. Look up, create a little bit of arch in your back as best you can, and then creating that compression in your left hip more. Breathe into your belly. Now bring both hands inside your right leg. As you shift your right shin a little bit back behind you so it pivots like a door, walk your hands forward and down. Take your left hand to your left thigh. As you bend your right elbow, melt your chest towards the floor. Slowly walk the hands towards your right knee. Shift your right shin out to your left as you come to sit. Cross your left ankle to the outside of your right thigh, coming to sit. If this hurts your right knee, straighten out your right leg. Hug the left leg in with your right arm. Left hand comes behind you. Hug that leg in tight until you feel that stretch across your left glute and hip. And then slowly unwind, little counter twist, opposite side. And then slowly come back through center. And that's it. If you want a little bit more stretching, I would recommend maybe taking a couple of these hip flexor stretches and quadricep stretches. Otherwise, thanks so much for sharing this little bit of time with me. If you have any requests or anything that you would like to see in a future little mini sequence, please let me know. I'd be happy to accommodate. Thanks for sharing. Bye.